So my name's Justin. This is my Twitter handle. I work for a fantastic company out of Vancouver called Mobify. We help you take your desktop site and make it mobile, essentially. We have some front-end technology to do that, and we're also moving into hybrid apps lately, which is why we're here. So I want to talk about asset updating, specifically how to do hot code push, because using PhoneGap, I think that's like one of the main value propositions is that because it's all HTML and JavaScript, you're actually allowed to load that and circumventing the App Store review process. So this is kind of the issue. So I found this tweet a few days ago, and Michael Love, he says, bug fix 3.2.1 update approved in 5 days, but in the meantime, we found and fixed several more bugs. To me, that kind of really sucks because meanwhile, users are running into these bugs, they're waiting, they get frustrated, they bounce, they leave a negative review. That's a really shitty experience. 10 days is actually the current average iOS review time. It's crazy. So this is according to appreviewtimes.com, which crowdsources this info from people who submit apps. But I think we can do better because this is from Apple's terms of service, and they basically say that you can't install or download executable code unless it's scripts and code downloaded to be run by Apple's WEBKIT framework, as long as you don't drastically change your app, which is what the little dots are there at the end. So I was kind of looking for a solution for this, and I know PhoneGap build has something called hydration. Initially, I was kind of thinking maybe people were using hydration for updates like this, but it turns out it's a bit more of a developer tool. I'm wondering, is anyone using hydration in production? No? Okay. So I was wondering how you'd go about doing this, so I kind of started Googling this. So I Googled PhoneGap asset updating. There's a few things in here about hydration, but none of these are what I'm looking for. So I thought maybe my search query sucked. PhoneGap hot code push. A few things about METEOR, which is really interesting, but nothing that explains how I should do this. So how do you go about updating if you're not using hydration or METEOR, for example? So I started thinking about this, and I thought, is there a way to do this using web tech? What's the most low friction way to do this? So I started thinking about the HTML application cache. And so I started toying around with this. And I basically, I built a quick prototype. And this is one small solution I want to demo to you guys. It might not be the best, and we'll go into why in a bit. So basically, the way this works is in your HTML, on your HTML tag, you can actually set a manifest attribute. And that manifest attribute is a file that basically references all the files that should be cached for offline use. And then, so the way you'd use this with PhoneGap is that in your PhoneGap's config.xml, you could set your content source to a remote server. The first time you run the app, it would load the HTML normally, and in the background, it would cache all the assets that are denoted by this file. And the next time you run it, it would use the cache asset, so it would work fully offline. So I got a quick demo for you guys. Okay, so this is actually, I have it in the simulator here as well. I'll just blow this up. 100%, nice. All right, so I built a little app. So right now, my app just has, this content source pointing to my local dev server, and it's not using HTML application caching. So I'm just gonna open it up. The demo gods are kind. This is a tic-tac-toe clone. It's called PhoneGap Do. I thought that was clever. So yeah, it's just a basic tic-tac-toe clone. One thing you'll notice in my little app that's serving this is that if I kill this and I run it again, you'll see an extra line pop in here because it's not using the HTML application cache. It's all grabbing this in real time from my server. So one thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go in my app and we're just gonna add that. So I've actually already created the manifest cache. This is what it looks like. It's super simple. It's got the CSS and the JavaScript, and the index is automatically cached whenever you reference this file. So in the index, one thing I haven't done is I haven't added that attribute. So if I just add that manifest equal manifest.appcache, that's pretty much all we should need because all the files I need are referenced in here. So I'm just gonna go back here. We're gonna go back to the home screen. We're gonna kill this. We're gonna look in here. So the first time I run this, it's gonna serve the JavaScript. One interesting thing is you see it's also served the cache manifest in here, down here. It's also served the cache manifest and it served the JavaScript twice. That's because the first time you run it, it runs the Webflow normally, so your browser will download the JavaScript, and then when the app cache loads, it'll download the JavaScript again. But now the really interesting thing is if I close this and I run it again, the only thing it serves is the cache manifest because it looks for updates in that file. Since that file hasn't changed, it won't re-download all of the cached assets. So what that means is I can actually kill this. So now I'm not serving anything. This is still pointing to the same content source, but I can rerun it. Wait, I don't think I killed it there. I can rerun it, and it just loads. It's loading from the cache. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So the next thing I want to do is I just want to go and Sublime real quick. One of my spaces, this one. And I want to make a change. So what I'm going to do is I want the app to say which player's turn it is. So I already have code to do that. It's commented out. I'm just going to uncomment it, save it. One thing about the app cache is that when you make a change, the way your browser knows that there's a change is you need to flip a byte in the cache manifest. One way to do that is just by adding a comment, or that comment could be, for example, a package digest. So I'll just put V2. So the server's running. If I kill this and I run it, so you can see it served the cache manifest. The browser went, oh, the cache manifest is different, so we'll re-download, recache the file. So it served the JavaScript, it served a few other things. I'm only displaying a few things here. And then in the app, I can see that there's a prompt, a new version of the site is available. That text could be whatever. I'll show you guys that in set load it. All right, sure. That reloads it, and you see the turn at the bottom. So yeah, I think that's pretty sweet. So yeah, so just to, actually, one more thing. Yeah, sorry. One more thing is I want to show you guys how that prompt actually works. In the JavaScript, just blow this up. You can bind for the update ready event on application cache, and using that, if there's an update, you can basically prompt the user to reload the app and use the new cache assets or do whatever what you want to do in here. So it's pretty powerful. How many people here are actually doing something like this today? Few people? Cool. So yeah, so just to recap quickly, so that's one way to do asset updating is using the cache manifest. There's a few limitations to it. It's a bit like a bike that has training wheels and they're welded on and you can't take them off because it prescribes you a way of doing things, and if you want to veer off that path, it's really hard to do. So you might be painting yourself in a corner with some of this stuff. So because of that, that's kind of one of the solutions I explored. And then I was kind of wondering, well, that's really cool. It works pretty well. But how are other people solving this? So I talked to a few of my friends. I talked to my friends at Clarity. And Vincent at Clarity, he basically said, their app, you basically need an internet connection to use this app. So what we've done is basically, we use Rails for our backend. Our backend fingerprints every file. And we have a permanent cache, permanent native cache that caches things based on file name. I thought that was a pretty interesting solution. I then talked to my friends at Foursome Gulf, and basically their solution is really intricate. So what they do is when they build their app, they generate a package digest and they generate hashes for each file in their bundle. And then they upload that to some backend update server that they've created. And then when the app does a request, it sends the package digest as a header. And if that digest doesn't match, their backend responds with a header that says, hey, an update's available. And then basically the app is responsible for posting all of the digest for its files to one of their update endpoint. and then their backend will actually generate a diff of the files they have versus the files that the client has, and then it'll send a package zip down, they'll unzip that, and then they reload and they're updated. It's really cool. So yeah, so today you can kind of use hydration, Meteor. You can use the HTML app cache if you're very careful and you want to try not to paint yourself in a corner, or you can roll your own solution. I just want to see how I'm making for time here. All right, I think that's pretty much all I got. I'm just going to speed through this. So tomorrow there's a new API that's being worked that's supposed to be a replacement for app cache. It's called Service Worker. It's basically a proxy between a request and the network in JavaScript. It's what app cache was meant to be. So with Service Worker, you can intercept requests and you can basically return whatever you want. It also has a really cool caching API so that yeah, you can cache things, and then on the fetch event, you can return cache copies. So it's just JavaScript compared to app cache. App cache prescribes a way of doing things. Service Worker, you can do the same thing that you do with app cache and more. But it's probably not shipping soon. I don't think Safari's like said anything about it yet, so like don't rely on this now, but it's cool. It's in Chrome Canary if you turn on experimental flags. And I guess the point is that there's no silver bullet today. I'd be interested in hearing how other people are doing this, if at all. I think everyone should be doing this. And yeah, I feel like this is going to be a really hot topic in the next 6 to 12 months. So, and the other thing is this stuff's really hard. It's hard to build an asset updater that works exactly how you want it to work and that like doesn't break people's like the app when you run it and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you.